more into your taxi now the better omo. A business akesiye, business in ketwa, a individuals, a ankura or say wow with the Ghana tax kabiano or the better. And you have a tax amnesty. Mahmoud Bawumia and at the end of the day, Okacha say Ghana, we need a lot of revenue. And or say Ghana sikano ho, and he is the same person or introducing a lot of taxes all in the name say taxes na harder than we be from the more account because of BB tax generation or say or person Ghana nesika from a tour Bawumia na kachre Mahmoud Bawumia na introduce e-levy on introduce ECOWAS levy tax on introduce the COVID-19 levy. Mahmoud Bawumia and economic management team or your head no they made sure say IMF program ayakom no bibia your friend or Eden Ghana recovering from our economic mess no it is only through revenue generation. Se kase through revenue generation a car ye di ene yentumi en service ye external debt and even domestic a car ye di ama and the Ghana IMF edit abona to ye so yentumi nye project bia yentumi ye huntumi hinhaye yentumi nye sika emfa enchichiri kuro no entumi mboa kuro no ni nyina no se yentumi generate enough revenue. Our main source of revenue is through taxes as Ghana na yete no sika yetumi nya edebo oman we ho bra dodo no efi eto Mahmoud Bawumia say upon all these things happening to Ghana right now no they done ne koma so person oye and say ye fa be tax amnesty na tax amnesty no say wunima eye ade bi a aban bi ye de omo ye ne say omo amutua eto wo ban ni mu no say yakase ye ma obia tax amnesty a ejuma kese te say Coca-Cola ejuma kese te say Kwame Despite ejuma kese te say Ibrahim Mohammed ejuma kese te say Nestle Ghana Nido akese kese na Accra Brewery Kumasi Brewery no ba ejuma nketewa bi te say Kwame Amoako nyame na aye cold store Obotampa electrical shop almost your business but they are small businesses and your big businesses now as about individual you need to move na you tebu you call ba yeso you theatre into osesa nipa omo ewo sa category we nyina no 2024 we say you the two man be president 2025 big companies small companies individuals a car na also butia aban your master dey so butia na odebeche obia. Now the question here is, what is tax amnesty? Is it a good way at the end of the day ube to be the ability ukurana? So what the eto eche nipa omuti kronum abra nipa no use ekro resources abra nipa no depend wo ekro so abra nipa no use the services of omino abra also otua no trauma omani gina na so especially when your government is at IMF they are telling them to find other means of raising revenue. Remember IMF program we mu ebe end 2027 or 2028, meaning the IMF will be on our neck. The only way that IMF will leave us or allow us to be able to go outside and borrow is when we have been able to generate enough revenue from our taxes. Finito. IMF program yakoshem se nkwano. The only way bet me film so you bet me akwa bontasa ko bobesi abechichiri krowe agina ye naso. It is only when we decide to make sure our revenue generation goes up to service our debts. Can ye day IMF send Ghana sunya sika dodo no it is from the revenue collection. The question is, so we be jina we ni mu nne said the only source yetumi nya sika every to the attitude crew to fight this IMF issue. The only source no revenue collection. I say and the Nipana Saka say revenue collection no, he is basically going to give people amnesty or the better or more. Na Nipano Diana origin. Is that person ready? Does the person knows the implications of what they are doing? Now when you look at this, so we read the Bawumia statement or make here. Take your time and what the whole shit is. Now, Bawumia can send me. Bawumia say, our tax system has been the same since independence and has not helped us. We are going to have a new tax system. it is going to be a flat tax system to ensure competitiveness and business friendliness. Also, we are going to have a flat tax system to ensure competitiveness and business friendliness. That statement is very important. According to usher in the new tax regime, there will be tax amnesty for individuals and businesses in 2025 under my government. I say, send you tax or Ghana, so no, you're general Ghana, you're or crime biswa, or say sacra crime. Now, when we say, I was say, yeah, adibia, sebio, ebeboye, ama nipebi wahi hamo, ama Ghana so sebio, ye a tour na yejeno, ebema yawaha high. Now, the opposite you say, or the idea by your friend baby flat rate tax. I don't know if I say flat tax system. So I can say flat tax system. Bawumia person say eba etwa. So obedi president etwa the multi-million dollar companies betiano. The same etwa ena ekwecha hairdressing salon and subitia. Ena Kwame Amwakwa sebio onoso Ghanaian onye dwuma pepe bia no, he is also going to pay the same kind of tax. And then the flat tax system. Now in this country there is an economy it solely relies on buy and selling. There is an economy we basically rely on importation. There is an economy it is basically flat on its back. It is a obi to say a multi-million dollar company like Gasem, the amount of money they make now they compare a company like Ekwecha Choba and Kwame Amwakwa. That's what we call a flat tax system. At the end of the day, who is going to benefit and who is going to lose? Remember, this same person said this year a more ding a collecting enough revenue. Or say obedi president taxes are 2024 more omuntia. Now you need to understand, say this statement from Bawumia, it is basically telling people who are paying taxes today not to pay. Bawumia catch willingly they are paying taxes. Say so who taxes in there now colleague back what is going to happen is the president finished. So Bawumia is basically telling multi-million dollar companies in Ghana, say you're not supposed to pay taxes this year because you can bring that money to me for me to use the money to do campaign, so that in 2025 when I become president I will scrap the crime you have committed, because when you refuse to pay taxes you have committed a crime in Ghana. And Bawumia basically amount for now who are even willing to pay taxes or say 2024 no do not pay, because your company now me make it money. Now my colleague who is in the same business with me is not paying their taxes, and somebody is telling me say if he becomes president $20 million what will encourage me to go and pay my taxes? So Mahmoud Bawumia president Krano, he has basically told the people not to contribute to their quota through taxes. He is telling Ghana for, and in business majority of the people are greedy. They are looking for loopholes not to pay taxes. It is a current vice president who wants to be president telling you say when Tiampa and the president they are encouraged not to pay. We are in a certain place. We need more revenues to raise enough funds to develop this country to pay our debts. The vice president, who is currently the head of the economic management team, is telling you say if you don't even pay at this juncture where we are struggling now, it means say we are all cement producers. Now say me taxes 50 million Ghana. Now say Amwako is not paying. Now because I say wait about a current vice president or a running mate, we a flag bearer. Now we say possibility of winning election. What will make me still be paying? Because it is a fact to say Amwako, when you become president, all the hundreds and thousands and millions of cities are going to the channel. So Bawumia basically is telling Ghana for say don't pay taxes for 2024. I will give it to you for free. You will not pay. Now, the flat tax system now kind and dangerous. No, it was a signal he was sending to the rich in Ghana who are willing to do what? To give Bawumia money to campaign. Their politics, no, a bit murky, a bit a bit complex kakra. Bawumia is sending a message to he's sending a message to rich people in Ghana who own big companies. He's telling them, the money that you are willing to use to pay taxes this year, give me that money. If you give me $100 million and I become president and they come to tell me that you have not paid taxes, automatically your taxes will be forgiven. So the message he was making, he was sending a message to the top 1% who are making billions out of Ghana not paying taxes, because he's telling them, you basically get benefit when you give that tax money to me. Give it to me, support my campaign, forget about not paying taxes. When I become president, automatically your taxes have been cancelled. Now that's something about Bawumia can say flat tax system, no, and it's dangerous. So now look at this. When it comes to amnesty, the IMF itself, they have looked at tax amnesty. They have done thorough investigation and research on tax amnesty. Oma check in crow, we are saying, we say, Oma implementing what we call tax amnesty. Just in conform to your tax, no. Was it a positive thing or it was a negative thing? Did it help the economy or at the end of the day destroy the economy? That is what IMF, and this is the IMF that controls all the economy in the world. They deal with the details, they deal with economic recovery, they support governments. When we look at something called tax amnesty, how does the IMF itself, how does it see it? Do they encourage tax amnesty? So Bawumia said it is going to be some sort of percentage, so flat rate. You can say 10%, meaning say, oh yeah, a small company, whatever you get, no, you get 10%. You have to pay 10% tax. So so Akrabiwe emaki 200 million, they will pay 10%. Say Amwakwata Choba emaki 2,000, they will pay 10% of their 2,000. Say individual emaki 2,000 Ghana, they will pay 10% of their 2,000. Now you might see it as flat, but if you do the math well, those people who fall beneath the rich top, they will find it difficult. They will be in a pain. We will come to that part, but let me break down the tax amnesty to you for you to have a clear understanding. Now the IMF itself, they took their time to look at tax amnesty. IMF itself took their time to do a thorough research on tax amnesty, and in their research they came out with a lot of information, and their conclusion clearly stated, say, tax amnesty is not the way to go. It's the lazy economist approach. Say, when you don't have ideas to manage your country, now moving into what we call tax amnesty, you are basically going to run your country down. This is a research paper by the IMF themselves, 2008. Now, tax amnesties, theory, trends, and some alternatives. So the IMF itself, they have done thorough investigation, research on when a country decides to give tax amnesty. Now, so we did research paper no very well. International Monetary Fund, IMF special issues, tax amnesty, amnesties, theory, trends, and some alternatives. July 29, 2008. That is the paper. The author is Eric Lee Bogney and Catherine Bayer. You can go and read the research. This is coming from the IMF. This is what they looked into. This is the research they did into Bawumia tax amnesty. Is it good or is something bad? This is the IMF research. Now, when you read their report, this is what you see. Now, this part of the report, and that's why I've shown you where the report is. You can go and read it and see. Remember, Kevin Tele yi part B. But because of time, the report conclusion, no, the other part. This is the conclusion. Argentina's tax amnesty program have not been successful, as reviewed by the need to frequently introduce new programs aimed at boosting tax compliance, and by the result of some of the tax amnesties, which have recently been analyzed by the Argentina Tax Department. Most amnesties were introduced independently of significant tax policy changes, or of an overall program to strengthen the tax administration's detection and enforcement capacity. Thus, even though it is difficult to measure the effect of the repeated amnesties on overall tax compliance because of the effect of the other factors, thus tax increase, new taxes, these programs do not appear to have contributed in any evident way to improve tax compliance, and on the contrary are likely to have negatively affected taxpayers' perception of the fairness and effectiveness of the tax system. In IMF for your research, no who say tax amnesty about Bawumia conducted thorough research in Argentina. Who say what happened, and they say what. And the most dangerous part is say a man who say paying taxes is not even important. Some people realize say it made it very unfair because then those people who are paying will stop paying. Into the IMF research, who say no, what we call tax amnesty, majority of the governments have it, but they don't implement it. They don't implement it because the moment you activate it, you give some people the impression that paying taxes is a bad cause, and that at the end of the day they will get a free meal or get free lunch in the UK. So what they are going to do is people and companies and individuals are deliberately going to ignore paying taxes. Argentina for they did not make any money. It did not help their economy. It is a Mahamudu Bawumia Bekachi say to Abamano na 2025 for president or the tax amnesty by obecha 2024 tax in them. Basically, before 2025, Mahamudu Bawumia is going to weaken the amount of revenue generation we will get in Ghana, because psychologically he has told businesses, big and small, and individuals that don't pay your taxes. If you don't pay, you have not committed a crime, because when I become president, I will forgive you. Now, when you read the report thoroughly, the other part of the report, and let me read that to you, the other part of the report says this: summary, tax amnesties remain as popular as ever as a tool for raising revenue and increasing tax compliance. International experience, however, shows that costs of tax amnesty programs often exceed the program's benefits. Now, this paper weighs the advantages and disadvantages of tax amnesties, drawing on results from the theoretical literature, econometrics evidence, and selected country and US state case studies. The authors concluded that successful, in quotes, successful tax amnesties are the exception rather than the norm. Improvement in tax administration are essential ingredients in addressing the main problem that tax amnesties seek to address. So basically, after the end of the research, the IMF came to the conclusion, they realized that tax amnesty itself does not bring anything. It basically weakens. You need to put programs in place that at the end of the day will be able to, at the end of the day, make the tax revenue, the collection, fluid. It should be fluid. The people should be paying, but they should not be feeling the pain. By you coming and saying, say the deep president, it is because it is that when the moment you make that statement, you are telling big, small individuals don't pay. So the probability of Ghana not meeting its revenue target in 2024 is 90%. Because if I'm a businessman, these are politicians doing their thing. He says if I don't pay and he wins. What if he wins? So I'm not going to pay. Into Bawumia, if we do not meet our revenue target in Ghana 2024, it means Mahamudu Bawumia is the one to blame. Now, Mama Chawa there. When you talk about tax amnesty, and I say okay, flat tax system, and I make a just say Bawumia say everyone say 10% all round. Big people pay 10%. middle will pay 10%, individuals will pay 10%. The issue here is when you do that, you are hurting the lower class. The idea about Bawumia as a tax amnesty now or and that there's going to be what we call flat tax system. No, Mahmoud Bawumia is rather going to make the poor poor. He's going to put a lot of pressure on the poor, and what is going to happen is those up there who already have money will be paying small, because send them jinaha na Dangote jinaha Ibrahim Muhammad jinaha na ka che jina se yentua 10 Ghana. Me ho ba chire me kakra. Even though I am working, I am being paid 10 Ghana to Ibrahim Muhammad and 10 Ghana to Dangote is nothing to them, but 10 Ghana to Mina Mie teacher is money. But you tell me, say you asked all of us 10 Ghana, and at the end of the day you all work, at the end of the day we all make income, but at the end of the day where the money is going to come from, who is going to lose more? Because when Ibrahim Muhammad moves 10 Ghana from his money, Dangote moves 10 Ghana, and I the teacher move 10 Ghana, it will affect me, even though we are all on the same tax system. We are all removing 10%. So who is going to get hurt? And it's over America, the Democrats and Joe Biden. He has been preaching, and the Democrats have been preaching all along, say they need to make sure, say, the rich in America pay their fair share. There is a reason why you are called the rich.